Hi all, welcome to another video for Theater 125, which is Theatrical Makeup 1, and Theater 200, which is Theatrical Makeup 2. This is just a review for those of you in the upper level class, but it's something new for those of you in the beginner class. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about using makeup charts and ways that you can record where makeup goes on your face and what kind and color of makeup goes on your face. The reason why we do that is because sometimes makeup can be very complicated, especially if you're doing something like an old age, so you have a lot of things going on and you may not remember everything off the top of your head, but also because sometimes one person designs the makeup and someone else applies it. So it's a plan for them to help them understand what needs to be done on the actor's face. So there's many different kinds of worksheets. The one in the book looks like this. I know it's kind of far away. But up close, it looks like that. And there's a couple of parts to this. The first part I want to talk about is what's in the boxes. The boxes that are listed with a photograph or a drawing of a face will be found on all of the different kinds of worksheets that I've provided. You may choose which one works best for you, but the information is pretty much the same. So we start with the square that says base. Base, B-A-S-E, is another word for foundation. And so what you do is you want to let the people know exactly what kind of makeup and what color of makeup you need for your foundation. So if you look at the Ben Nye, see if I can hold that still enough. It has the name of the company, the number, and the name of the color. And what I would suggest you including is all three of those. Sometimes if it's a small space, as you can see, some of these are a little bit small, so you might just include the company name and then the actual number. But for this exercise, I'd like you to include the color too, just to help remind you what all this is. If you are going to do something out of the ordinary with your foundation, this would be a place to do that. You might even include an addendum to this with lines where you can say, you know, in the foundation, it needs to be this color on the top half and this color on the bottom half. And if you want to have powder applied to the foundation before you add anything else, you can mention the color, again, product, color, name. These don't necessarily have a number, but it does have the company and it does have the name of the product and the color. So everyone will assume that you're using something like this. So if you're using different tools to apply your powder, or if you're using something other than an applicator to apply your foundation, that's another thing you might include on the makeup chart. So the next two, I've mentioned powder already. The next two are the highlight and shadow. And again, same kind of thing. Let's just say that this was our highlight, for example. Same thing. You've got the name of the company, you've got the number, and you've got the name of the color. And then you would do the same for the shadow. Same kind of thing. So whatever it is for you, that's the name, number, and color that you're going to put in the corresponding highlight box or shadow box or powder box or base or foundation box. Now the next step is helping whoever's going to apply better understand where the makeup goes. So in the example that's in the book, it actually includes your photograph. So if you wanted to use that one, you could even include the photographs that you took and submitted along with the section in the middle. And it has different areas and same kind of thing. So forehead, eyes. So if it's corrective makeup, let's say on the forehead, you're going to shorten it. And so you would list that in the forehead area shorten, bring shadow down 1 inch from hairline or something like that. To eyes, same kind of thing. If you make them less deep, or maybe you're doing crow's feet, those are the kinds of things that you describe what you're doing and what you're using to create that in that box. Cheekbones. So where does the shadow go? Where does the highlight go? Nose, mouth, jawline, all the same. Now I'm asking you to do this with your own corrective, so there might be slight variations, but most of it's going to be fairly straightforward. They also include cheeks, chin, and those are things that you might want to shorten your chin. You might want to put a little rouge, which is a blush color on your cheeks, depending on what kind of makeup you're doing. For lips, you might do some kind of color in there, or you might, correct things or add wrinkles for age along there. The other things that are included in this chart are special effects. So if I was going to create a bruise on my face, then I would choose the makeup. And again, we're looking at the company, the number, and the name of it, which is usually in bold. With something like this, you might want to give some instructions. That's why the special effects box is the largest box, because you might want to say, make the yellow, a circle that's about 3 inches wide. And then you can go in and say exactly how you want it to look. Now, the other thing that you might include, I mentioned applicators and a brush and tools for putting on your powder or setting powder over your makeup. There's a couple of other things you might include. Just like the makeup has a number, most good brushes will again say the name of the company, and then they'll have some kind of code, and that tells us what brush it is. Sometimes it's just a size, so it's a number 1, but you can still put the name of the brush. And that you can put in each section. So let's say you're using this little teeny tiny brush to do some kind of corrective crow's feet on the side. And so you would include that where it says eyes as to what size brush and what kind of brush you're using. So another way to communicate with, and I forgot, you might also use eyebrow pencils, eyeliner, those kinds of things. Again, it will have the name, sorry about that, and a number so you know what it is. So you can tell whoever's doing your makeup what needs to be done if you're putting eyeliner in your eyes or kind of accentuating your eyebrows. So the other thing that happens with this one is if you are going to include your picture, the reason why you include your picture is because you can take tracing paper and draw over the top the shapes that you would like the makeup to be in. So for corrective, probably not going to be overly complicated, but you could draw where the shadow goes if you want to shorten your forehead, or draw how far down the highlight goes if you want to lengthen your nose. And how you do that is if you have tracing paper, and this is just kind of a bonus thing. I know not everybody is going to have access to all of these, but if you want to try it, you can. And then I'll show you how to do it without a photograph. So you're going to be using tracing paper, and you're going to be taping it or clipping it to your photograph. This is just a random person's photograph, so I hope she doesn't mind that I'm using it. And then you would, with a soft pencil, draw the shapes that you would need. So up here, maybe if you want to shorten or lengthen the forehead, same thing, she's lengthened her nose, and so you can see how far down it goes. So you would just draw the shapes. It's not like you're actually shading in the makeup, you're drawing the shape. So if you did highlight in your cheek, you draw it exactly along your cheek where you need it. Same with shadow. And you might also include directional blending too, especially if it's a little bit different than what we would normally do. So far, basics of this assignment. It's your face and your own personal corrective makeup. So if you were just gonna go on looking pretty much like yourself with just a little corrective makeup on stage, that's what I want you to think about. And then you're gonna choose one of the worksheets, and you're gonna make sure that you include the colors and the numbers of everything you use, tools. The only things that won't have them are these, but if you absolutely want latex free, you can include that somewhere too. So the other thing I just wanted to briefly talk about is the other option is to have a chart that just has like a face drawn on it. So I'll show you. So they look like something like this, and then they'll have just generic eyes, eyebrows, nose. And one of the choices is that one right there. That one's great because if you have a lot of detail, see how it gives you the option to highlight and shadow very specifically in the different areas of your face. That can be very, very helpful. For this one, you might not necessarily need it, but if you find it useful, then this might be the best one to choose. What I would like you to do though is all of these have slightly different ways of providing the information. So if you need to, you can go on the back and maybe if the cheek has some stippling, you could actually go on the back and include the makeup numbers and colors that you would need to do the stippling on that one. But the other thing too, on any of them that you choose, make sure that you put your name, and you would normally put your character name, but all you need to do is corrective. And why you want to do this is because then you have it and you can use it, keep it with you as an actor, use it in the future. So hopefully that helps, and please don't hesitate to ask questions. I've extended this assignment to this Friday at 11:59 p.m. because it was my fault that I didn't get this posted in time. Thank you, wonderful weather. But I hope everything else is going well, and enjoy the assignment.